Off, you just give us a background of yourself, how long you've been here, that sort of thing. That'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Patrick Stevens. Actually, do you prefer if I do camera?
You can look at me. Yeah.
My name is Patrick Stevens. I've been at the Y. I'm coming up on my 6th anniversary.
Awesome.
It'll be just after the summer here. I've been in aquatics for about twice that long. I started with Spokane Parks and Recreation about 12 years ago. 11 years ago, 12 years ago, something like that. Working in aquatics. So I got certified as a lifeguard when I was 20. So I guess it would be coming up on 12 years. Great summer job, you know, easy, especially if you're outdoors. It starts and stops pretty much when school starts and stops. So I did that, and I made my way up through the city program. I was a lifeguard, and then an assistant manager, and then a manager, and then eventually I was the program coordinator there. And then when I came here to the YMCA, it was kind of a reset for me, but you know, I had a lot of people that I worked with at the city were here, so that made the transition kind of easy, and I started here as a part-time lifeguard, and then part-time lead guard, full-time lead guard, and I've been the full-time director now for 2.5, 3 years.
Awesome. Okay, so like background information school-wise, did you bachelor's degree, master's degree, what was that sort of?
So I have some college. I went to WSU, which is where I met my wife and where I was at the time that I started lifeguarding, but did not finish.
Okay, very cool. All right, so to jump into the facility stuff, we'll just go off
Sure.
number one. When was the YMCA Aquatics Center or the YMCA in general built that you know of?
Sure. So this iteration of the downtown Y, the central Y, was opened in, as best as I can find, 2009.
Okay.
I was trying to run that down. That's why I was a little bit late this morning. But I know they demolished the old building around that time. I know that this facility opened, I think, shortly before actually the other one was demolished. So we're coming up, 9 years almost, because I believe it was May, it was spring of that year.
Okay.
So coming up on our 10-year anniversary next year.
Awesome.
And then, you know, previously, obviously the other Y had been there since the 70s, I think.
So this obviously is a much bigger upgrade compared to that Y, the Ys.
Definitely functionally, yes. You know, modern design taking into account things like accessibility and safety and whatnot. You know, the other Y was very vertical. And this Y, you know, we have 2 levels and an elevator to even, you know, to access that second level. So.
Perfect. So aquatic center wise, what do we offer here?
So we have 3 main pools and a hot tub. We have a 4-lane lap pool, 25 yards long. We have one of the only therapy pools in Spokane. It's kept at a higher water temperature to you know, to allow for people who have those special therapeutic needs to work out. And then we have a not quite 0 depth, but essentially a 0 depth wading pool as well. Those are all in operation, you know, for various uses throughout the day, every day. And then the spa is, you know, people use that for all sorts of things. Sometimes it's a post-workout for a swim. Sometimes it's a post-workout for lifting weights or whatever.
Definitely. So just to go off your therapeutic pool that you have, you said it gets a lot of use. Definitely, because that's like one of the only ones you said. What would you say general numbers daily?
For that pool, so it's very interesting actually. One of the things that I really did not expect when I came here, because I came, like I said, from the huge city pools where we have, you know, 200, 300, 400 people at a time, is that our user base here is very, people have schedules that they stick to. So we have our Monday, Wednesday group, our Friday only people, you know, Saturday, obviously weekends for families and things like that. So Tuesdays and Thursdays are significantly slower, which I didn't necessarily expect. I would think especially Tuesday, maybe just being early in the week, you know, maybe people kind of get it all out of the way early in the week and then taper off. But no, actually Tuesday and especially Thursday are slow days. So on days like that, you know, the whole aquatic center might have like 200 to 500 visits. So like something like the therapy pool, you know, would probably have half-ish of that.
Okay.
But on busier days, we're 500 to 1,000 plus easily. Like it definitely does vary on the day, and obviously season as well. During the summer, more people want to
right, definitely,
swim. Yeah.
Of course. So lift chairs, ramps, accessibility for all of your pools. I assume that's all there, but more so in the therapeutic pool. I
Correct.
assume.
Yeah, that's the, you know, the primary spot that we really want to target with that. That's where the most people who have you know, special physical needs or limitations want to get in that water primarily.
Awesome. Okay, great.
Yeah, but all of our pools, you know, have double handrails and all that too.
Perfect. So just in your opinion, do you see an increase, like you said, there on Monday, Wednesday,
Sure.
like Tuesday, Thursday, like is there a specific time, like we need a lot of people here, like it's quite busy, that sort of thing, pool-wise?
Yeah, our busiest times definitely are weekdays from 4 to 6. You know, kind of that after school, after work time. Everybody would. That's when we offer most of our swim lessons because of that. But of course, then that becomes a self-sustaining beast too.
Right.
But yeah, definitely evenings 4 to 6 during the school year. As we move into kind of spring here, Fridays get a lot busier. We get a lot of people, burning 3-day weekends, vacation time, that kind of thing to hang out with the kids. So,
Absolutely.
So Fridays pick up kind of from now into summer, and then summer just always busy.
Perfect. Okay, going on to question number 2. So to work here at the Aquatic Center, you just need your basic lifeguard certification. What sort of requirements do you guys look for when hiring?
So the lifeguard certification itself comes with a bunch of other kind of rider certifications. You have to obviously be lifeguard certified, but that requires being certified with in CPR for the professional rescuer, which is a higher level of CPR that isn't generally taught to the public. You need obviously first aid, bloodborne pathogens training, which really most jobs require BPP, so nothing too unique there. And then lifeguards also, it's not a requirement, but here at the Y we do require that you either are or that you get oxygen, certified to administer emergency oxygen as well.
Awesome.
It's usually taught with lifeguarding, but it's not a Red Cross requirement. So some classes cut it just for time.
Okay, do you have different requirements for your regular pool and your therapeutic pool, or all the same under?
As far as lifeguarding, no, everything's the same there. We then do further in-service training on a monthly basis to address any specific needs that we have. But as far as prerequisite certifications, that would be there, and then obviously as a swim instructor, certification.
Awesome. And do you take into consideration how much experience they have? Do you have really well experienced people out of high school? What sort of?
The lion's share definitely are younger people, kind of first or second job. You can be certified as a lifeguard as early as 15.
Okay.
So we get a lot of people high school, early college. Like I said, it's a convenient school job. Even outside of just whether you work summers only, as I said, our biggest need is after school hours. So that works if you're in school.
Yeah. Perfect. Okay, great. Jumping down to number 3. During your time as manager, how have you helped, do you feel, grow this facility? Have you sort of given any ideas?
Yeah, so I think really a big thing for me was trying to rebalance the schedule a little bit.
Okay.
Things change and mature over time as you understand better what your user base is and what your needs are. And when I first came here, we had a lot of very structured, like this is lap swim only time, this is open swim only time, a lot of and trying to just work a little bit more modularity in there. So we have a lot more 2 lanes lap swim, 2 lanes open swim, that kind of thing, just to try and kind of open it up a little bit more. And I think, if nothing else, it's definitely helped spread out usage a little bit, because it used to be even more so of that kind of up and down. But now instead of like, well, all the lap swimmers have to cram in from 11:30 to 1, now it's there's a lot more times throughout the day where that can potentially happen.
Perfect. Is there anything that you see that you would like to potentially add in the future, pool-wise? Anything that you feel, we don't have this, maybe we should?
We'll have to have 2 more lanes. I'm not sure. I have quite a bit of discretion for making changes. So, other things that I've been able to do is like mess with holiday hours. So when we have major holidays now, the normal schedule just doesn't exist that day. Everything's open swim all day, which seems really simple, but it wasn't a thing that we were doing before. And it makes a big difference. We're not turning, families away when parents have days off and things like that. We've gotten to experiment with new water X programs like aqua yoga and things like that. So I do think that we've added a lot. I don't know, like nothing really jumps out at me as a major wish we could have other than just more space, really.
Of course, yeah. Usually what we get.
Right.
But you said aqua yoga. Do you sort of run classes like that to kind of do like a trial? How does it go?
Yeah.
Who will implement it in?
Yeah, so we actually just, a couple months ago started experimenting with our next new project there, which was aquatic high-intensity interval training. So we offer a HIIT upstairs as a dry land class. So we wanted to experiment with kind of a mixed-use class there. And that's a fairly specialty thing, so we didn't necessarily expect it to blow up and be a 40-person class or anything like that. But within a few weeks, once the word got out, we were averaging between like 6 and 12, which is pretty good for a pilot program.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So
Perfect. All right, down to number 4. So problems, double booking, it doesn't really seem like you probably run into that a whole lot.
Yeah, not really. You know, one of the benefits to having the different, you know, having 3 pools that all have different needs that they serve is that we can kind of work around that.
Yeah.
So, you know, every once in a while it'll happen, but, you know, usually we can work something out where, you know, one group gets the deep end, one group gets the shallow end, or one group gets the therapy pool, and one group gets the lap pool, something like that. So we've never, as far as I can think of, we've never had to like turn somebody away.
Perfect.
Yeah, maybe a compromise. But.
Okay, just a question. You said one group gets this, one group gets that. How do you decide this group we're going to give the deep end? How do you decide that?
There's not a formula. You know, it really depends on need, right? You know, with safety being first, which I know might sound a little corny, but you know, if you have littler kids, I'm not going to put you in the deep end. You know, you're going to get the shallow end or the wading pool, or you know, whatever is going to suit that need. So with an eye to safety first. Other than that, you know, just trying to find a compromise that works for people.
Awesome. So I'm kind of answered number 5 in that one as well. Great. So number 6, large events. You had mentioned the North Central prior, so you want to give us a little background on that sort of thing?
Yeah, admittedly, I don't personally have a ton to do with scheduling that. It's just kind of, you know, we facilitate a part of that. But
Absolutely.
with North Central High School being so close to us, you know, really it's just a few blocks over that way.
Yeah.
They, at least twice in the last couple of years, have come to us for their senior all-nighter. And I don't think it's necessarily the whole program. I think they do something on site and then they come here for kind of the second portion if you want to stay late. So I think they come from, you know, 9 to midnight or 10 to 1 or something like that and come here. So, you know, that's obviously, that's a special needs circumstance for us, and we want to make sure vigilance is king with lifeguards, and it's also the hardest thing with lifeguards. You know, it's one of the only jobs that you can have without, you know, about a decade of schooling that requires laser focus literally every second. So, you know, when we're looking at after hours, early morning, things like that, we have to be really careful that we're making sure to protect the you know, the stamina, the vigilance integrity of our staff. So, you know, we don't, it would be really easy to just take our closers and have them stay. We intentionally don't do that. Those people go home at closing and we have a new fresh group come in.
Oh, perfect. So I was going to ask what do you prepare for that, but yeah, you just let your closers go, bring in new.
Yeah.
Excellent. Perfect. Okay. Number 7, in terms of maintaining like the success of the Aquatic Center, how often do repairs or deck maintenance, any sort of thing like that happen?
So in terms of actually like grinding and reworking the concrete, as far as I know, that's never happened in this facility in, you know, 8 to 10 years that it's been open. You know, it's probably getting there, but you know, in the higher use spots, most of the concrete is still pretty good. But the places where there's the most traffic, we were you know, starting to notice a degradation there. So we've actually installed a lot of a product called Tri-Deck. If you don't know the name, I'm sure you've seen it before, but it's a plastic ground covering that has texture to it. And installed that in probably about a third of our total deck space to cover, you know, the high use areas where we were seeing some degradation.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so water-wise, do you know what Washington State requires for the pool chemistry?
So off the top of my head, water laws are weird. You know, there's some stuff that's CDC, there's some stuff that's state, there's some stuff that's county. Some of those organizations refer back to the CDC, some of them don't. So I don't remember for sure if this is WAC or not, but at least what Spokane Regional Health District requires is that pH is between no less than 7.2, so you know, true neutral, and no higher than 8.0.
Okay.
And chlorine depends a little bit on the use of the pool, so which essentially is determined as whether it is sitting water or moving or thrown water. So sitting water, you know, just your standard lap pool, you know, kind of square in the ground with water in it. Minimum of 1.5 parts per million free chlorine, and then a maximum of 10. For thrown or moving water, a minimum of 3 and a maximum of 10.
Okay, very cool. So temperature-wise, you said your therapeutic is obviously higher.
Correct.
What is the regular? What is the therapeutic?
Sure. So our lap pool, I mean anything, it's going to vary a little bit. There's no way to laser control that.
Right.
But our lap pool is around 81, 82. And that's dialed in pretty well. It's rare that we're above or below that. The wading pool is kind of in the middle, between 86 and 88. The therapy pool is 93 or 94, and then the hot tub is like between 102 and 104.
Awesome. Okay, that's great. So I'm down to number 8. In your opinion, what is the key to a successful aquatic center? You've kind of been in and around
Yeah.
people, so.
You know, honestly, if I could just put it in a couple words, an engaged staff.
Awesome.
Lots of staff. It takes a lot of bodies. I mean, even for how relatively small our aquatic center here is, depending on the time of year, I have between 30 and 50 staff to run that.
Wow.
And a lot of them, like I said, are young, first or second job. So is doing, you know, anything and everything that you can to keep that engagement level high, because if they're, like I said, the vigilance piece of lifeguarding is extremely difficult. And if you're burned out emotionally, it's going to be that much harder for you to do that. And then the obvious things like teaching swim lessons and whatnot. If you're not peppy and happy and loud and whatever, it's just not going to work.
Absolutely.
So we're actually in the process of rolling out Sunday the 20th here, so a week and a half. We're going to be kicking off a whole new staff engagement program. We're kind of gamifying the whole thing. You know, do this many cleaning tasks, get a point. Pass your in-service, get a point. You know, kind of, and then trying to find things that lifeguards care about other than pizza. Obviously, pizza too, but. You know, things like trying to make it fun. We require fitness swims every week, so you'll be able to like buy out of 1 week's fitness swim, or one of the ones that's been really popular so far with people is being able to, if you will, like pay to make your supervisor rotate for you.
Oh wow.
Or, you know, some things like that. So yeah, I think it'll be really fun. I'm really excited for it. We've never done anything like that here before. Actually, at any pools that I've worked at before, but I think. You know, because of the age group, there's a fair amount of turnover among lifeguards, so we can't just, you know, obviously we want to build relationships with individuals, but we need something that's more sustainable, because what happens when, you know, if 10 of those individuals leave, all of a sudden we have no relationship with the new staff.
Absolutely.
So the goal here is to create a system that we can include people in that pre-exist them, so that way instead of being like, oh, you're new and you're confused, we've got a great relationship with this other person, instead you're all brought together in a team for the game.
Sure. And so this is something that you brought to the attention, or that you kind of saw someone else brought it? How did that?
Yeah, no, this was my idea. Well, I mean, at least my initial idea, and then I pitched it to a couple of my supervisors, and really, it's been kind of fun because I've gotten to let them just kind of run with it. You know, I gave them kind of my goals, obviously what we wanted to accomplish with this, and some suggestions for prizes and tasks and things like that. But then I've been able to let them go with it, which is really fun, because so much of aquatics is you know, risk management and specific do's and don'ts and, you know, things like that. So it's hard to find opportunities to let people run with things, and I've been able to do that with this. So I'm really excited to see what they came up with.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Okay, just a couple questions left. So we kind of talked before, so how many lifeguards are needed sort of throughout the day, highs and lows? Periods?
So it varies. Our facility is kind of unique because we have 3 relatively small bodies of water. Mm-hmm. So primarily for us, we have 1 person per pool when we're open. Okay. You know, with some exceptions being like when we have day camp groups, large groups, you know, 50, 60, 70 kids come in. I don't want just 1 person flat pool for a group that big. So we double up, or, you know, even triple up sometimes depending on what it is. But our just a normal average day, 1 person per pool.
Great, excellent. Okay, and then the last one we kind of discussed about resurfacing. So the pool gear, do you see that in the future happening? Probably. Maybe.
Ultimately, that one's actually not so much in my hands, just because of the way that delineation of duties happen. We have a separate facilities director who's in charge of you know, the physical buildings and maintenance and all that. So that's you know, like I make a recommendation, you know, and then he's the one that's responsible really for making that happen. So you know, short term, like I said, we weren't seeing a holistic need, so that's why we did the dry deck. You know, and then you know, we'll see kind of what the lifespan of that is, and probably reevaluate in, I don't know, 6 months to 2 or 3 years. You know, kind of see what that's looking like. If we have to replace the dry deck every 6 months and it costs, you know, X amount of money, that might not be sustainable versus just doing the resurfacing. So we'll kind of evaluate that. It's fairly new for us. We put in the dry decking in like March or April pretty recently.
Super new. Okay, and just before you completely wrap up, is there anything that you think that we should know that we kind of missed, maybe didn't discuss or hit on, pool-wise or facility-wise?
You know, not that I can really think of. The only thing I can say, really, just that I touched on briefly, is just I have a ton of respect for people that lifeguard. It is, you know, literally by the second work that not everyone can do. So people who can do that and who can make that work, I think that takes a special breed.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Patrick.
no, thank you.
Yeah, this has been great.
Okay.